ladies, welcome back. I'm Chris, this is the little sewing room. Nice to see you all back again. I hope you all had a good time sewing. With the weather we've had here in the UK, it's been miserable, wet, cold, windy. Not the sort of weather you want to go out in, so it's given us all an opportunity to get some sewing done, hopefully. I thought I'd come on today. This is a bit different to what I've done before. I know a lot of people this time of year do the Make 9, where they choose 9 projects they'd like to make up within the year. That won't be very good for me because I tend to see something, like it, make it. Whereas I think people who do the Make 9 have a more structured sewing plan than me. But I thought instead of doing that, I would like to do something. So what I thought I would do is, instead of doing a Make 9, I'm going to do a sort of things that I would like to do to push myself a little bit, to sort of improve my sewing and do things that put me out of my comfort zone, because there's a lot of things I avoid. I mean, I used to avoid buttons and buttonholes because I was having trouble with my buttonhole foot. It used to do half a buttonhole then stop, or it used to do half a buttonhole and then just keep going in the same place, so it knotted all up underneath. Solved that problem, and they don't bother me now. I used to avoid zips because when it said invisible zip, I didn't even know what an invisible zip was until I looked at the pattern and understood. And I've tried those, and I've got I really enjoy putting an invisible zip in now. It's quite strange really, whereas I'm not so good on the others, the exposed zips, but it's not very often I have to do one of those anyway. They do look alright. It's just that perhaps I'm a bit of a perfectionist with some things. So I thought, well, there is things that I've avoided, and I have seen people sew them, and I have watched YouTube channels where they've made things and they said, you know, it's easier than it looks. So I thought, right, I shall give it a go. So I've chose 6 things that I'd like to do over this year to try and improve my sewing and be a bit more versatile, shall I say. And there's certain patterns that I've looked at. I'm still trying to find my style because I've lost weight, and what suited me, what I used to wear before, is nowhere near what I'd wear now. I do tend to like more fitted, but the problem with that is I do get a bit of bloating, and you know, I can make a dress one day and it fit lovely, and then 2 days later it's tight because of the bloating. I really ought to sort that out, but at the minute we've had a hectic week this week. My husband, being a diabetic, has had a lot of checkups. He's had his feet check up, he's had his eye check up, and over just before Christmas he took his glove off because we'd been out and it was cold, and he got his gloves on. He took his glove off and his little finger just dropped like that, and he couldn't move it to put it back up, so he weren't sure what he'd done, and he weren't sure whether he broke it, but he thought, well, I can't have broke it, I only took the glove off. So being the man he is, he left it, and then just before, the day before Christmas Eve, we had to go to our doctor's surgery to have our travel vaccinations for our holiday in March. And while he was there, he spoke to the nurse, and she said, "Oh, make an appointment with the doctors." Well, of course, day before Christmas Eve, you can't get in anyway. So he left it, and then he went a fortnight ago to see the doctor. The doctor says to him, he's not sure whether it's broke or whether it's a ligament or something like that, tendon. So he sent him for an x-ray. So we went for an x-ray. The people in x-ray said they don't think it was broke, they couldn't see a break, but it's difficult with it being his little finger. And they sent us to A&E, so we went to A&E, and they put a splint on and strapped it, and then they said physio would send for you. So for the last couple of weeks he's had to go. Yeah, he went last Tuesday to have a proper splint put on. So he's got a splint on the top, and he's had to have the end of his finger tilted up so that the splint holds it like that. So we went back this Tuesday just to check that everything was all right, and I've had to change the dressing on it. So I wanted to see that I'd put the dressing on right and that his finger was at the right, it's got to tilt up like that. So I wanted to make sure I'd done it right, which I had. So he's got to keep that on for the next 10 weeks. So he'll have it on when we're on holiday. And I have to take it off and clean all his finger and re-strap it once a week. So at least I know I'm doing it right. So we've spent a couple of times, because he had to go back this Tuesday. So we went back there, and as I say, he's had his foot clinic, he's had his eye test yesterday. Today we've got nothing on. Tomorrow I'm at the hairdresser. So it's been quite a busy week this week. Next Monday I've got an eye checkup. So fitting things in's been, horrendous. So yeah, so we've had a busy week this week. So not got much sewing done. But I thought, well, because I've not been sewing, it's given me time to think about what I want to do this year. And as I say, I think I'm going to rather do a make 9, because I wouldn't stick to it, because I know, I tend to make things when I see. Sometimes because I've lost weight, I tend to try and see people who's about my size and see what they wear and whether it suits them and whether I would like to make it and things like that. So that's the sort of way I'm going at the minute. So, as I say, mine's more of things I've avoided that I want to try and conquer and not let it get the better of me. So I've chose 6 things. The first one, I'm not doing them in this order. These are just the things that I've made note of I'd like to do. I'd like to have a go at doing welt pockets. I think they look really smart, and they do look a bit confusing when I see somebody doing something with a welt pocket, or they've made something with a welt pocket. But I think it's something that I would like to learn, because one thing I would like to do is make a Chanel type jacket, and some of them have a welt pocket, some of them just have flaps and no pocket, and so I'm not quite sure. I mean, I haven't seen the pattern yet. This is something that I keep looking, and if I find one, I'll get it. But at the moment, I haven't found one I really like. So I'd like to have a go at welt pockets. The other thing is trousers. Now I have made the sapphire trousers, and I have got a pair of saguaro pants cut out for my holidays, but I wanted to make a pair of fitted trousers. I bought a pattern, I cut them out and I can't get the fit right. When you look at YouTube and they tell you how it should fit and you shouldn't have creases at the top of the legs or around the bottom and things like that, I just couldn't, and it would take me ages to sort it. So I thought, well, I'm going to put them to one side because I've got other things I want to make, and that's where they've stayed. Now, whether it's because I've cut out too small a pattern, I'm not sure, because I started off with a bigger size and I've slowly gone down. So I'm not quite sure. Perhaps I'd be better if I had a stretch fabric rather than a non-stretch. But I like the style of the trouser. They are just a straight leg with a side pocket. When I say a sloping pocket on the front, if you know what I mean. No pockets on the back. But maybe I could do a welt pocket on the back. That might be an idea, even that I'll do two things in one. But get the trousers done first, I think. So trousers was another one. And as I say, I have got a pattern that I really like, and I'd like to try and get the fit as good as I can. My next one is a line jacket, so that's where the Chanel jacket comes in. I've made a couple of shackets. I've made my husband the litmus jacket, and I've also got the Friday Pattern Company one. Can't remember what it's called. Which is not lined. So I think when the Chanel jacket pattern comes, that'll probably be lined, so that'll incorporate that as well. Another thing is swimwear. Now I'm going on holiday, as I say, in a few weeks. I have bought some swimwear fabric. I have got some patterns, and that is the next thing that I'm going to be making. I don't want to rush it. I mean, I've like I say, these things that I avoid, and then I see people who say, you know, they're really easy to make. So hopefully they'll turn out all right. So swimwear is probably the first one I'm going to do, which will be over this next couple of weeks. I do like two-piece swimsuits rather than one, although a lot of people might think I'm a bit too old for a two-piece, but if Ellen Mirren can do it, I can do it. Ellen Mirren is somebody that I really think, for her age, she looks beautiful, you know, and I understand where she's saying that, you know, just because you're in your 70s, why can't you have long hair, and why can't you do this, and why can't you wear that? Why shouldn't we? You know, you've got to be happy in what you, as long as you're happy wearing it or doing it or whatever, what's it got to do with anybody else? I think that you've got to be happy in yourself. Don't let anybody dictate what you can and cannot do. You know, I mean, when I was younger and we used to go out, I mean, I used to think I was daring in some of the things I went at. When you see what people go out in now, blows my mind. I wouldn't wear those sort of things because I'm not that outgoing. But you know, I think you've got to wear what you feel comfortable in and what makes you feel good. The next thing is I'd like to do my own pattern block. I've got all the stuff to do it. I've got the books telling you how to do it. I've just put it off because I'm waiting to have my highs done to make sure that my measurements are right and that I do everything correctly. So that is another thing that I'd like to get done this year. It sounds intimidating, but when I've read the books, as long as you do the correct measurements and things like that, then you should be fine. And the other thing that put me off a little bit is that you know, I'd heard a lot of people who'd made pattern blocks, but then they didn't say what they used them for or why you use them once that you'd made it. But there is a couple of things up on YouTube now telling you how to use your block to make a pattern and make things from, which I'm quite happy about now. So it's given me that little bit more of an incentive to have a go at that. And the other thing is doing pattern adjustments. I've done a round shoulder adjustment on a jacket I made for my husband on the pattern. And I've done a 4 bust adjustment on a top I made. That was when I was bigger. Now I've lost weight. I'm not such a big busted person as I was, so I probably don't need it now. It is confusing that a lot of patterns use your high bust and your bust measurements and not just your bust measurements. So another thing is I've got to really read the pattern before I start cutting out, because if they use the high bust, I tend to use the bust measurement. Because when I used to sew years ago, that's the measurement that they used to use. So I've just got to get used to making sure I read the pattern before I start cutting things out, so that I know what I'm doing. So they're the 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, the 6 things that I've chose. Hopefully, you know, when I try one and it don't go right, perhaps I hope it don't put me off. But the thing is, I can't not have a go because I want to improve. So, you know, I've just got to do what needs to be done and get stuck in and get them done. So, as I say, the first thing will be swimwear. I have got the fabric, the lining, the elastic. All I need to do is cut them out and sew them up. So, maybe on my next vlog you may see my attempt at swimwear. I was going to buy a couple of swimsuits just in case it didn't work out, which I think was making it that it was putting me off even more. So I've avoided that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the swimwear. I'm going to see what they look like. If I'm not happy, I can go and buy, rather than me buy just in case I don't make a good job, because it's not the incentive I need. So that is my 3 projects I want to work my way through for improving my sewing. How long it'll take, I'm not sure. As I say, with the trousers, I did start them, but I'm going to start from scratch. I'm wondering whether to do the pattern block first, because that might help with making the trousers and getting the fit right, because if the block's perfect to your measurements, then the trouser pattern should fit right. So yeah, so at the minute that is the 6 that I would like to get sorted this year, and besides that I've got a couple of dresses that I'm making for my holidays. I've just got some sweatshirty material come because we're going to the Caribbean for our holidays. It's my 70th birthday and my 49th wedding anniversary. So that's why we're going there, and we're going on March the 10th, and it will still be cold here, but there it'll be lovely. So I wanted to make a sweatshirt to wear to travel in, so that when I get there I can take it off, but I've got something warm to travel in. And that fabric's arrived today. It's just in the washer, so I can't show it you yet, but I will show it you in my next vlog. Hopefully I might be showing you the sweatshirt, because I want to make sure that that's done before I go on holiday. So that's a couple of the projects I've got in mind. And so I think that's it for today. It's going to be a short and sweet one. Nice to be back. slowly getting back into it. And as I say, besides having all this running about, I've really enjoyed having some sewing time because of the weather. So I'll leave it there, and I hope you all have a lovely time sewing, and that, you know, like me, hoping that the weather picks up and we can get out and have a bit of brighter weather. Sorry about the noise, they're cutting some trees down just down the side of the house next door but one, so it's a bit noisy today. So yeah, so that's everything today, and I shall be back with a new vlog hopefully in a couple of weeks, and until then, enjoy your sewing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.